Hi, my name is Herve, and this is my Unreal and Wwise sound design demo reel. I would highly recommend you to watch the full gameplay on my channel to really see the final result. This is only a technical demo.
I need to find a way out of this cave. This cannot be good news. I made him angry.
The full demo consists in 117 media files. Each sound bank weighs 47.9 megabytes per platform. I created specific reverb zones to route the audio through them. I placed different AK reverb volume objects in Unreal for each specific room. Then linked them to auxiliary channels in Wwise, where I placed my reverbs. Then I selected Use Game Defined Auxiliary Sends option in each Wwise element that I wanted to apply reverbs into. For the waterfalls, I recorded multiple instances of water falling, both indoors and outdoors. Then loop them to create the sensation of infinite water flowing. In Wwise, I applied specific attenuation curves where I determined the output buzz volume, a low-pass filter that would increase or decrease depending on the player's position from the object, and a spread curve to reduce the stereo image of the sound depending on the player's position. This allowed me to maintain a constant low-pitched rumble linked to the waterfall. Each object has its associated blueprint where the Wwise AK vent is attached to, alongside an occlusion refresh interval module and a reference to the object itself. Originally, I created multiple instances of one-shot SFX with emitted automation and different paths. Due to the constant low-pitched waterfall sound, I decided not to implement this technique. Instead, I created localized effects linked to specific objects in the scene. In Unreal, I placed the AK audio objects sensitive to occlusion and route them through my auxiliary channel to apply a reverb. The full set of objects contain birds, chains, waterfalls, subtle water drops, and wind. All created from scratch from original recording. Footsteps are implemented using notifiers in my character's animation. Then I attach to the notifier the following blueprint that detects in which surface the character is stepping into. I use the same blueprint to trigger my AK events containing the character's clothes noise. I use the line trace by channel module to detect the surface type. In Unreal, I tagged each element with its specific material. Just note that there are multiple ways to implement this. I chose to have multiple AK events with each material and allow Unreal to switch between them, instead of using a switch container in Wwise. I will use this technique for the water puddles. For the water puddles, I use a switch container that was set in Wwise that switches between silence and water effects. I recorded multiple instances of water splashes, and I separated the kick and the tail and link each one of those in 2 different random containers with randomized pitch to create a maximum number of iterations for each step. In Unreal, I placed a trigger box on top of each water puddle using the actor's beginning and end overlap function. I used this blueprint to trigger both my switch container and a state in Wwise. The switch changes from silence to water. And I created 2 states, above and below water, activating a low-pass filter on my gravel steps. I will make it through those waterfalls.
Make it through those waterfalls. I won't make it through those waterfalls.
I used the same trigger box technique to implement my character's voice in specific moments. In Unreal, I added a do once module to avoid triggering the voice multiple times.
The chain is broken, and the shackle's missing. Someone or something was locked here.
In some instances, I triggered the sound at a distance. This allowed me to create a short narrative and gave personality to my demo.
This cannot be good news.
In order to create an enemy, I had to set a collision system to handle impacts in game. I attached 2 objects to my character's fists and used the beginning overlap functions and used animation notifiers to detect that my character is throwing a punch. Here, I implemented my AK audio event containing my punch sound. I had to create a simple artificial intelligence to control my enemy. I was able to implement a reception for my take damage function, which is linked to my player's events fists and my enemy health bar. Once I had these set up, my enemy would lose health every time he would be in contact with the player's fists. In my enemy blueprint, I continued the take damage function, where I attached all the animation model, depending on the health status.